Peace. So my mom passed this week, and I was deciding on if I wanted to make a video about it. So if I get a little emotional while I'm making this video, just be patient with me. Yesterday was rough. Interesting enough, she passed on her birthday week. And I've never felt a feeling like this before. I've never felt an emotion like this before. Emotions, plural, and feelings, plural. And yesterday was extremely rough. I still ended up going to work. And of course, I'm one of those that I need to keep myself occupied to not want to fully feel and engulf in what just happened. The first day, it really didn't hit me. I got emotional when I heard, but then throughout the day, I really didn't feel anything physically. And then yesterday is when it just all hit me, and I was in and out of emotions and crying and devastation. And I had visualized yesterday. First, let me say the reason why I'm sharing this, because I really wasn't in a space of wanting to share, because I'm a very private person. However, I am learning that our stories are meant to be heard. The things that we experience are meant to be heard. How we go through life is meant to be heard, because there are people out there that are going through things alone and by themselves. And I used to be that person, and still am, actually. I have a handful of friends that I love that support me. But I choose to internalize things for myself on my own timing. And the less I have people around me to do that, the more comfort I have, right? Because I don't ever want my friends to feel like they have to say a certain word, or they have to give condolences, or they have to do this just out of kindness. You know what I'm saying? And I don't ever like to put people in that position, because sometimes people will do things just to be kind, and that's the human thing to do and the nice thing to do. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that. It just gets overwhelming for me sometimes. And so I internalize things alone and by myself. And the reason why I bring this up is because I know that there is a lot of back and forths of daughters or sons having to go to their parents' funerals. Right? And I've been going back and forth with this, and I think being able to have some light shed, if you guys have already experienced something like this, according to how you deal with your own traumas, or how you deal with, a death of a loved one. So at first, when I was in my emotions, I was like, I have to get myself situated. I have to figure out how I'm going to get a plane ticket, where I'm going to go, when is this going to happen? And I started getting wrapped up in the how-tos, right? I personally think funerals are a cultural thing. The living, I think funerals are more for the living than it is for the actual deceased. And the whole reason why I started van life, and I think this is why the punch or the stabbing of the news didn't hit me as hard as I had expected, is because I was prepared for this. The whole purpose of me truly getting into van life is so that I would be able to, and to be able to work remote, is so that I would be able to get to California without anybody telling me or getting permission to have to go to California to spend time with my mom, because she's had Alzheimer's, dementia first, and then Alzheimer's for a while now. And so I ended up sacrificing and letting go of all of my things, my apartment, my cars, let all that shit go on my credit, bought a van, a 99 Ford E150 van, and only took what I needed, and aligned myself to a reality of wanting to get a remote job. And those that know me know that I was talking about this for a while, and it happened. Remember, as within, so without, as above, so below, as the earth, so the soul. So I was doing the internal work to want to create keep using the word create, to want to align myself to a reality to where I would be able to have a remote job so I can maneuver myself to be able to see my mom more than I was seeing her, because I could see and know and feel more importantly, feel that the time was coming, right? So I did that. And within those 3 years, I was able to see my mom multiple times. And the last time that I had went, well, let's say the second to the last time, she was still walking. You know, she'd kind of like go like this back and forth. Her hands were stuck like this. And she would say, yes, yes. Like whenever you would talk to her, that was her thing, right? But you can still see the life in her eyes. Then this past time that I went, these last few months, when I just finally got settled from being on the road, she couldn't walk. She wasn't walking. They had to grind her food because she couldn't eat whole foods. And you can just see in her eyes that the time was coming, you know? And so for me, the soul was still there, but the mind was gone, and I was able to be present in that moment and to, I guess, say, have my closure of knowing that soon something was going to transpire. So the other day it did. And so I've now come to being okay. I've come to being okay with the fact that I'm not going to go to her funeral. Family dynamics play a role in which we have the choice to choose to be around, right? And as I mentioned, funerals are for the living, it's not for the dead. I don't care about the physicality of any being whatsoever. It's the soul that matters. And my mom has transitioned into whatever place she is in. Nobody knows, nobody's experienced where these places are or what this place is after death. We like to hold on to these ideas to make us feel better about the unknown, but we really don't know. All right. And you guys should know me by now. I live in the unknown. So I don't know where she is or how she is, or even if she is a she in this moment, because now her spirit is gone. But what I do know is that I'm at peace with knowing that, one, I followed my intuition and was able to spend time with her in her last months. Two, I know that now her physical body and the release of this physical dense reality of hers is gone. And I'm not wanting to hold on to that. I'm not wanting to hold on to the idea of it. I don't want to see that as the last thing that I remember her as. And so I share this video because I think it's important to not get caught up in the rapture of thinking that you dealing with things through this life only matters to you, all right? You and I are not responsible for how others perceive how you show up. Your most important space of yourself is your mental health, how you love yourself through the process, and how you perceive the outcome of it all, you know? And I'm just comfortable with knowing that, you know, I handled this space and this experience with her the way that I felt good for myself. And whatever people have to do for themselves afterwards, after her, you know, soul is gone, is up to them, you know. And so what I am going to do, and I'm going to probably pop some pictures here, or here, is both of my grandmothers have passed, and now my mother. And I kind of feel like it's a mother maiden crone type of thing. That's the energy that I received yesterday. And it's the Trinity for me. You know, those were the Trinities of my life. And I learned something from each of them. You know, it's just been a beautiful journey, even through the ebb and flow, even through the contrast. And so my way of remembrance to all of the women in my life that are important to me is to create a shrine within my space. So it's gonna kind of be like a shrine on one of these walls in my bedroom, just so I can see them every day and remember, you know, all of the beautiful things that they taught me and how they lived and what I've learned that has allowed me to be who I am in this present moment. And hi, mommy, my comforter. Yeah, so I found these pictures. My dad actually had these pictures of my grandmother and my mother. Because you know, old school people, they got albums. We don't have albums anymore, right? So thank goodness for, you know, the older crews in our lives. And then I ended up finding a picture of my other grandmother with me. And all of the pictures that I have are my mother holding me as a little girl, my grandmother's holding me as a little girl. And so I'm gonna actually frame them, and I'm going to include their favorite flowers, and I'm gonna put it within the frames, all of their favorite flowers. My mom loved orchids, my grandmother Kim loved carnations, and then I'm still trying to figure out what my other grandmother loved. My dad is probably gonna know. I actually asked him to see what flowers she loved. So within the frames, I wanna buy like a really old school frames and then frame those 3 pictures and include their favorite flowers within the frame itself around the pictures. And then I'm gonna place it on a white wall in my bedroom. And then within the wall itself, I'm gonna buy these wall sconces that are going to hold those tea light candles, so I can always have the candles lit for them. And then I remember seeing these really cute little containers that you fill with water, and you can have like these beautiful, any type of like leaves coming out of it. They don't need much care because all of my grandparents, well, both of my grandmothers and my mom, like they loved like just the gardening aspect of life, you know? So I want to add some plants around the shrines with the candles and with their favorite flowers. And then that's how I am choosing to, you know, get through this. Will I ever get through this? I probably will never do, because this is heart-wrenching. I'm surprised I'm even getting through this video with minimal. I think it's because I compartmentalized some of my emotions before I got on here. But yeah, I have to learn how to allow myself to grieve. I've never had to grieve like this before. So this is all new, you know? So yeah, I think it's important that people show truths about themselves. It's not just always, you know, seeing the beauty of life. Life, you know, has contrast. And one thing that is for sure that we all will witness and experience is our deaths. But death brings life, you know. Death is just the beginning to newness. And that's why I choose to celebrate more than going to funerals and being caught in emotions and guilt and the past. And people only show up when, you know, things are in a very, I don't know, I kind of see funerals as, and granted, it might not be everyone, right? But with my family dynamic, people only show up when there's funerals. And, you know, my mom was the glue to a lot. We used to have family reunions all the time and gatherings all the time. And it's like once she kind of transitioned, you know, through Alzheimer's, it's like it all just kind of dwindled down. And so you really got to take a step back and observe to see who the powerhouse was within everybody here. My ear is ringing. It's been ringing a lot these last couple of days. So yeah, I wanted to share this for anybody who feels that they feel obligated to not honor themselves because they have to show up for everybody else. Just always remember, however you choose to celebrate your family or mourn for your family, a family member that's dear to you, is up to you and always up to you. And that is all that ever matters. All right? That is all that ever matters for my life. And I've accepted that. And I'm choosing to do it my way and how I feel because it matters to me. And I also am, what's the word that I want to use? I'm also making decisions, you know, for my own space and what feels good to me, you know, and how I want to go about this. And I think sometimes we allow others to make us feel guilty for our choices when it comes to things like this, you know. I have had a relationship with my mother as well, and I want to do that in my own privacy with myself while I go through this process. And how that shows up is going to be different every day, but I don't want to be with a crowd. I don't want to be around people doing it. I don't want to be in a space of, you know, I just don't. That's all I even have to say is I just don't. And so, yeah, I hope this video helps somebody that has been through it or that's going through it currently. And just know that you yourself matter. And you above all have to make sure that you're good before anybody else is good. And you're not responsible for other people's perceptions or rejections of the choices that you make about anything. You have to show up for yourself every day. You have to mentally, you know, be okay within yourself every day. And however that has to be, you only know that for yourself. You only have your relationship with yourself. And whatever you choose for yourself is okay. All right? So thank you guys for being present in this moment in my life. And, you know, I really hope that this assists somebody because it's definitely assisting me. Just even talking through it all is also a confirmation. And I just want to celebrate my mom. You know, I want to celebrate, you know, the foods that she loved and the flowers that she enjoyed and the love that she gave everyone and, you know, how she showed up for the homeless all the time and how she did the best that she could with what she had according to how she was raised, you know? And that's all I want to remember her as. I don't want to see her in a casket or no, I don't want to remember her as that. And that's my choice. All right. So love you guys and thank you for your love and support. Especially those closest to me. I appreciate you guys being here. I know you guys watch my videos and yeah, today is a new day and I'm living from my heart space and not getting wrapped up in my thoughts about it all and, you know, taking it one day at a time. All right, so I love you guys and I'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.